Welcome to the last Rauta Classic review in 2019. So New Year is about to begin right today, but before that, before you're too drunk I hope, we'll talk about this classic album. And this one is actually from 2002, however this particular copy of mine is a reissue. It's a vinyl reissue, on top of that being a CD. And now the funny thing is, this was sent to me by a Rauta follower, who I nowadays would call Rautaer. I don't consider anybody a fan of the channel or anything like that, but here it goes. This was a kind of a present for me, so thank you, whoever you are, wherever you are. This one is called Inquisition, Invoking the Majestic Throne of Satan Final. So instead of me getting a copy from a label or the band itself, this was a fan of the band who decided to send me this copy for review. He thought it would be a good idea for me to talk about this album as one of the classic reviews, and he sent me this beautiful version of this vinyl. As you can see, this opens quite nicely. I have already unboxed this vinyl. Why? Because, well, I actually listened to it a few times. Now the funny thing is, I actually reviewed this beauty in 2004, so almost 16 years ago. This was February 2004 when I actually reviewed this album, back then giving a review score 7.5 out of 10. And now that I listened to it a few times prior to making this review of this fine album, which I think could be said as a modern classic, and by modern I mean 2000s classic release, because I mean this is not an 80s or 90s one. Anyway, as you can see, this nice gatefold LP is included with a sort of a booklet that it's tied here with some lyrics, some photos or, well, images, and then it opens like that also. So lyrics, band photo, more lyrics, and then it folds back again like that. Really nice looking reissue of this classic album from 2009. This is 2014 edition, if I'm not mistaken, released by, as you can see, by Hell's Headbangers, which is a relatively good underground label, releasing a lot of underground black metal and death metal and other styles of extreme metal. However, not exactly a label that is here to support Rauta's album. So in case you're wondering why no more Hell's Headbangers releases are out here, well, that's because they don't actually send stuff, but it's okay. Now, what to tell you a little bit about Inquisition in case you have missed the band. Now, the band started in Colombia already in the late 80s, so it is now more than 30 years of age, but the band members soon settled for United States, and that's where they actually started recording their album material, which came out already in late 90s. The first releases from early 90s were more or less demo material, but when the closer to the came of the old millennium, that is, they started to making full albums, and since that they have, in my opinion, improved quite a bit. Now, originally I wasn't exactly a fan of Inquisition. First of all, the music, while being kind of a hypnotic and kind of unique in so many ways, it lacked, in my opinion, some sort of catchiness, if you will. That is, while they still had these kind of unique riffs and style, especially with their very noticeable vocals, the music itself wasn't that good. I mean, it certainly had this kind of a captivating feeling, but something was a little bit missing. Now, when the second album came out, I think the band actually improved a little bit, and later on, since that, I think they have improved quite a lot. with the latest ones from 2016, I guess, being maybe the best album so far. It might be a little bit older than that. I don't actually remember the exact year, and I'm not gonna do alt tabbing for fact checking. You can pretty much do it for yourself in case you want to make note of my erroneous talk. However, my point here is that this is also a band that has been keeping improving while still maintaining their own style of these riffs and melodies and their unique vocal style, which I think is kind of unique in the sense of Mayhem's Attila Shihar, but still being a little bit different. We actually called it grandma kind of snaring sound, like so it's not like shrieky or screamy style, it's not high pitched, nor it's like low pitched growling vocals, but it's more like the old granny style of why don't you give me that cookie? Sorry. But there you have it. But what makes the band actually interesting with its music is obviously how the songs are done, how they're conducted, how the riffs are made, and what kind of an impression and feeling they create. And I think especially this particular album is very much like Immortal style, but with kind of a United States Colombian twist. That is, certain melodies are actually quite uplifting. They're kind of a happy kind of melodies, which is creating nice contrast in this kind of a darker and evil and sinister type of riffing, which this band is so often performing in kind of a mid-tempo-ish way. So this is not very much that's kind of a style that is uber intense or fast-paced like Marduk and the like, but more creating this kind of a evil feeling with its relatively slow tempo riffing and beating. And that is one of the reasons which actually makes this band so interesting. They have their own style when it comes to riffs and with vocals, so it doesn't even matter if the production, that is how the album actually sounds with guitars, drums, bass, whatever, because the actual songs, the actual riffs are the ones that make it separate from so many other bands. And now that I was giving this a few spins before actually making this video, I really enjoyed once again how they kind of connect these happy melodies, these uplifting parts with the kind of evil riffings. This is by no means, this is not the darkest and most evil sounding album out there, or the whole band actually. But it doesn't mean that this band isn't worthwhile listening to. I think Inquisition has done really nice work creating their own style, being kind of a captivating, kind of a hypnotic, and still being kind of easy to actually approach. I wouldn't say easy listening because this is very much still black metal, but this is not the most obscure, not the most experimental, most extreme of black metal what there is to out. So this is more towards leaning towards the kind of a so-called mainstream black metal, even if Inquisition never managed to become that big. Now, one of the things, which is kind of a sad thing, but I mean, to each his own and whatever, is that happened that once there was this kind of a scandal of Inquisition, you can pretty much Google it up, a couple of years ago, they got kicked out of Season of Mist. Maybe rightfully so. I'm not here to judge, or I'm not here to say that I have evidence or whatever, so I just stick to what has been written there. So once they got booted out of Season of Mist, I think they got a little bit of a dent in their shield in terms of getting more fame, more gigs and whatever. And talking about gigs, I got to witness this band around 15 years ago in my home city, and they actually performed nicely. And now you have to understand that was like 15 years ago, so probably they have played quite a bit of gigs since that and improved on that field as well. But still a band that I would say go to see them live if you're not bothered by the image dent or the topics here within and so forth, because it's an interesting band with quite good of a music. Now, I'm not saying that all of their albums are big success ones. They are between being exactly great, but definitely better than just decent, just okay. So once again, interesting band, and with these kind of albums, which I think is a little bit better than what I expected or remembered it to be, this is very much an album that is worthwhile listening to. It's very much a band that is very much worth taking a look at, and especially with these kind of nicely looking picture discs, these albums really get you the feeling and the vibe and the value for money that you might be expecting for. So nice album in a nice package. In case you still have missed Inquisition, do your thing right and check out them online, and maybe then proceed to the cash register with your newly found band that you're a fan of now. Anyway, great band, great album, and overall nice, unique black metal from United States of America. There you have it, and once again, big thanks to the person who actually sent me this vinyl. This is going to my collection, so more listening times coming in distant few years. See you and have a good New Year.